Welcome to today's presentation, Diabetes and the Importance of Meal Planning. Today's webinar is brought to you by the Good Health Gateway, a program that encourages members to take care of their health and rewards them for doing so. Our presentation today will cover the following topics: the plate method, healthy food swaps, common food myths. In addition, we will provide you with health tips to help you stay on track during the holiday season. At the end of the presentation, I'll review the Good Health Gateway program and how you and/or a family member can benefit from participating. Before we get started, I'd like to introduce myself. My name is Jessica Johnson. I am an account manager at the Good Health Gateway program, and I am the dedicated manager for the Dell program. I will be moderating today's presentation. I am joined by Jeanette Nessett, a registered dietitian and nutritionist. Her nutritional expertise includes serving clientele of all ages and working with multicultural populations. She has experience in food service management, community and clinical nutrition, individual assessments and counseling, and group planning and education. Before starting, I'd like to encourage everyone listening to jot down questions throughout today's presentation. You may submit questions to the Good Health Gateway for a response. Additionally, we'll include some question and answers from this webinar presented last month as part of a diabetes awareness campaign. Now I'll turn it over to Jeanette.
Thank you, Jessica. Next. Some of you may remember a few years ago when the 5 food groups were displayed in a pyramid format, as you see here on the screen. The problem with the pyramid as an educational tool was that it wasn't very helpful in letting you know how much of each food group should be on your plate. The good news is that it has changed, and now we have the plate method to explain the food groups, and they are shown on an actual plate. If you'd like to look up more information on the plate, go to the American Diabetes Association at diabetes.org for the diabetes plate, or choosemyplate.gov for others. Next. The plate uses a 9-inch dinner plate to showcase the food groups. This is important to keep in mind when you're preparing your plate for a meal. Here you can see that 1/2 of the plate is covered with fruits and vegetables. A little more than 1/4 of the plate is for grain foods and starchy vegetables, and a little less than 1/4 of the plate is for protein foods. Between the fruits and vegetables and the grain groups, there is a lot of fiber on the plate. Fiber can help slow down absorption of carbohydrates and sugar and help reduce appetite and food intake. It also helps improve blood sugar levels. In the grain group, you should opt for high fiber choices most of the time. Although you might not choose whole grains all of the time, at least 1/2 of your grain food choices should be whole grain every day. Whole grains contain all 3 parts of the grain: the kernel, the bran, the germ, and the endosperm. Whole grains are healthier and provide more protein, more fiber, and many more important vitamins and minerals than refined or processed grains. Some examples include oatmeal, farro, quinoa, brown rice, barley, and popcorn. Next. As you can see up here, we have the food label. Let's look at a few key things on the label that you should be aware of. First, start with the serving size. Look here for both the serving size, the amount typically eaten at one time, and the number of servings in the package. Compare your portion size, the amount you actually eat, to the serving size listed on the panel. If the serving size is 1 cup and you eat 2 cups, you are getting twice the calories, fat, and other nutrients listed on the label. Check out the total calories. Find out how many calories are in a single serving. It's smart to cut back on calories if you are watching your weight. There are some nutrition terms that you may want to pay attention to as well. If something is listed as calorie-free, it should be less than 5 calories per serving, such as something like sugar-free Jell-O. If it is listed as fat-free or sugar-free, less than a half a gram of fat or sugar per serving, and if it's low sodium, 140 milligrams or less of sodium per serving. You would see that likely on crackers, chips, and canned goods. Choose foods that are low in saturated fat, added sugars, and sodium to help reduce your risk for chronic disease. Saturated fat and trans fats are linked to an increased risk of heart disease. Eating too much added sugar makes it difficult to meet nutrient needs within your calorie requirement. And high levels of sodium can add up to high blood pressure. If we look up here on the label, we see some examples of crackers. Always look for products that have a smaller ingredient list. That means that there are less added ingredients, less things like preservatives, maybe less sugar and salt. As you can see, the crackers in the first 3 columns all have quite lengthy food ingredient lists. But if you look at the Triscuits, they're whole wheat, soybean oil, and or palm oil and salt, simply 2 or 3 ingredients. Always look for those simpler labels. Next. During the holidays or any time you are faced with a variety of foods that you don't eat on a regular basis, you may need some guidance to help you decide what choices would be best. Let's talk about some healthy food swaps. For proteins, choose those that are baked, grilled, broiled, or poached. Avoid fried choices as they increase calories and fat content in your diet. When you choose vegetables, have them grilled, roasted, or steamed. With seasonings is okay, but avoid buttery sauces and excessive salty seasonings. If you're having soup, opt for broth-based varieties instead of cream-based soups, which are higher in fat. When you have a salad, ask for the dressing on the side so you can control how much you put on the salad, again, to control fat intake. When it comes to desserts, pie is a favorite at the holidays. Opt for apple, blueberry, or pumpkin, which will be lower in sugar than something like a pecan pie or cheesecake. And when it comes to homemade foods, choose those over store-bought foods. More processed foods tend to be higher in sugar, fat, and refined carbohydrates. Skip the simple carbohydrates that are highly processed, such as white sugar and white flour foods. Next. When it comes to food and nutrition, there is no shortage of myths regarding healthy eating. Let's discuss a few of them. First, there's a myth that you must eat different foods from the rest of the family. Nothing could be further from the truth. Obviously, you want to make healthy choices. However, if you're faced with foods that aren't part of your healthy eating plan, opt for smaller portions of the questionable foods and put more vegetables, salad, and leaner protein on your plate. Another myth is that fats don't influence blood glucose. Fat found in margarine, oils, and salad dressing have little immediate effect on blood glucose levels. However, eating a fatty meal can slow down digestion and make it harder for your insulin to work, causing a possible high blood glucose level hours after your meal. 3, another big myth is that food should be avoided. The good news is that fruit is healthy to eat for people with diabetes. People with diabetes should eat a balanced diet that provides enough energy and helps to maintain a healthy weight. Some fruits are high in sugar, such as mangoes, but can be part of a healthy diet in moderate amounts. And one of the biggest myths is that carbs are the enemy. Carbohydrates don't have to be the enemy as long as you make the right choices. This is where high fiber choices are important, as we previously discussed. Better choices include whole grains in their unprocessed form, as would be barley, farro, and quinoa. One serving would be 1/2 cup of cooked cereal or pasta and 1/3 cup of rice. Whole grain cereals should contain at least 5 to 8 grams of fiber per serving and no more than 8 grams of sugar per serving. A bread is considered high fiber if it has a minimum of 3 to 5 grams of fiber per slice, which is 1 serving. Or for an English muffin, it would be 1/2 of an English muffin or 1/2 of a bun. And fruits are also carbohydrates. A portion would be a 6-inch banana, about 15 grapes, and for apples, pears, and oranges, about the size of a tennis ball. Next. Let's talk about some strategies to help you through holidays and special events. First, survey all of your options before creating your plate. Outsmart the buffet and/or the meal being served. You can use the plate method as your guide to make better choices. Start by filling half of your plate with non-starchy vegetables. Look for those foods or special dishes that you only get during the holidays and have smaller portions of them. Choose lean proteins without gravies or sauces. When it comes to fruits and vegetables, choose those without sauces, butters, and gravies. Those that look closest to their natural state are best. Offer to bring a dish. You'll be sure to have something that you can eat and stay on track. Watch out for starchy foods. Holiday meals tend to be heavy on carbohydrate foods such as sweet potatoes, pasta, stuffed, mashed potatoes, and desserts. It doesn't mean that you can't enjoy some of them, but it really means that you have to watch your portion sizes. Approximately 1/2 cup equals 1 carbohydrate serving. Try to fill most of your plate with non- or low-carbohydrate foods, such as lean turkey or non-starchy vegetables. And try to limit carbohydrates to 2 to 3 servings per meal. Share a dessert or have just a taste to satisfy your sweet tooth. When it comes to beverages, pick calorie or sugar-free drinks like plain or infused water or sparkling water. For a little more flavor, add a splash of juice or frozen fruit. Alcohol can be dehydrating. It's important to stay hydrated for good blood glucose control. When it comes to alcohol, no one knows whether drinking any amount of alcohol is actually good for us. We do know too much alcohol is absolutely harmful, and too much can be detrimental to your health. If you or a family member has issues using alcohol, it's best to avoid it. And finally, don't finish something you don't enjoy. If you're not enjoying what you've chosen, don't eat it. Save your calories for the foods that you do enjoy. Next. In closing, some final thoughts about how to prepare for the big meal. First, don't skip meals in anticipation of an event or a holiday meal. Eat a small snack about 2 to 4 hours in advance to maintain good blood sugar levels and to take the edge off of your appetite. Track what you eat to keep things under control. Write down what you're eating to acknowledge your diet throughout the day. Eat slowly. You'll enjoy your food more and give your brain a chance to recognize when you're full. It takes about 20 minutes. More importantly, enjoy the company you're celebrating with. Take a walk after each course or get up and move. Keep exercise a part of your daily routine, even during the holidays. It's good for stress management as well as blood sugar control. And if you're not sure about how to plan for the big event, talk with your doctor or diabetes educator in advance. Remember to test your blood sugar levels and take your medication. There are diabetes educators available to you through the Good Health Gateway. Don't be afraid to reach out if you need help. Now I'll turn the program back over to Jessica.
Thank you, Jeanette.
You're welcome.
Next, I'll share how Dell team members and their dependents on the medical plan can benefit from the program. So what is the Good Health Gateway program, and why do we offer this webinar? Well, the Good Health Gateway program is a diabetes care management program that rewards you for taking care of your diabetes and connecting with your healthcare team. The program provides members with information that can help them improve their health, prevent complications, and close gaps in care. To receive program rewards, members complete specific activities that align with the American Diabetes Association standards of care. These activities include the following annually: an annual fasting blood lipid, a diabetes foot exam, a diabetes eye exam, and a urine protein test. Twice yearly, hemoglobin A1C levels. Keep in mind your doctor may require this more often than twice a year, but the program is only looking for that information twice yearly. Members also have access to diabetes educators, including clinical pharmacists and diabetes nurse educators, to create an annual diabetes health action plan that can be shared with your healthcare team. A few important things to note. Any labs or exams completed in the last 12 months count towards your program requirements, with the exception of the A1C that has a 6-month look back. Next, while meeting with a Good Health Gateway diabetes educator is a yearly requirement for the program, members have access to the educators more often if needed. A recent enhancement to the program was that Dell team members could schedule their meeting with the diabetes educator online. Once you've had your first meeting, this will appear and you can schedule your call with the diabetes educator through the portal. And then lastly, our program requirements can easily be submitted by uploading confirmation of these activities on your secure online portal. The Good Health Gateway program is completely voluntary and confidential. All Dell team members and their covered dependents are eligible for the program. This includes spouses, domestic partners, and children enrolled in the Dell U.S. medical plan. The program is intended for members with a diagnosis of diabetes or pre-diabetes, as the reward for the program for those who complete program requirements is a reduction on covered diabetes medications and supplies using your CVS Caremark prescription card. What this will look like at the register is $0 on generics, $15 for brand medications, and $40 for 90-day mail orders. If you're not already registered in the program and would like to, you can get started by enrolling on our website at www.goodhealthgateway.com, or you can call our helpline at 866-978-2738. We are happy to be part of the Well at Dell program and provide this presentation to you as part of the Happy, Healthy You holiday series. Check out other webinars on nutrition, fitness, and finances and stress during the holiday. You can see them on the U.S. Wellness Inside Dell page or you can click the link in this webinar. Other perks that you may want to hear more about include the Know Your Numbers webinar to help you interpret your health values and lab results and manage your numbers through a healthy lifestyle. This webinar is presented by WebMD, and you can register using the link on this page. And finally, the My Healthy Perks deadline is quickly approaching. Don't miss the deadline, January 31st, 2020, and you can learn more about the My Healthy Perks program at the mywellatdell.com page or clicking on the link in the presentation. As I said earlier in the presentation, we wanted to give you the benefit of some of the questions that we received at the webinar last month. So we're going to do a little Q&A between myself and Jeanette, and we're going to start with one of the questions that we get often, and it is it beneficial to meal prep?
That's a very important question and a good question, Jessica. As a matter of fact, meal preparation is very important and key to success. I always encourage people to prepare in advance as much as they can. And we need, even when it comes to food preparation, if you turn your oven on, say, to bake some chicken, think about what else you might be able to do at the same time and utilize your oven while the heat is on. For example, maybe you could roast up a pan full of vegetables or cook another protein item so that you have food prepared for the week, especially if you're busy and have a busy schedule. But food preparation also helps to keep you on track by keeping things in order for you in terms of remembering what you're eating and what you're planning on eating. And also, when you go to the grocery store, plan on those kind of healthy food snacks or things that you can grab, at last minute if you are very busy, that don't always have to be a prepared or a processed type food, so that you can make healthier choices.
Makes sense. Another question that we received, and it's common theme, especially around the holidays, is I'm too busy and I don't have a lot of time to cook, so how do I stay on track?
It's possible to do that. You just look for more fresh foods. Maybe, as I said earlier, you could do some advanced preparation if you have an hour or a little time one day or one evening. If not, when you go to the store, stock up on fresh fruits and vegetables. You can also go to the grocery store's salad bar and choose items from there that you could easily have during the week or maybe heat up in terms of fresh fruits and vegetables. And you can find all kinds of proteins that are quick and easy. You can turn to things like peanut butter or nuts or things like beans, kidney beans, lentils, things like that. But just make sure if you're choosing products that are already prepared that you do check your label first.
Okay. Another question that we received, and a super common question at Good Health Gateway, specifically around diabetes menus, is regarding artificial sweeteners. And the question is, are artificial sweeteners safe?
Well, artificial sweeteners, there's a lot of talk about them, and I always tell people it's really a personal choice as to whether or not they choose to use them. They are meant to help people avoid the calories and sugar and help promote weight loss, and for people who don't have the opportunity to eat sugar, if you have diabetes, they give them an opportunity to have something a little bit sweet. But they are saying that they may not be the best thing for us at the end of the day. So the best thing I suggest to people is look for alternatives to some of those artificial sweeteners. For example, if you're looking to kind of sweeten up or jazz up your water a little bit, instead of putting a sweetener in there, add some frozen fruits to that. Or look for things like the monk fruit sweeteners, which I think it's called Truvia, which is a natural-based sweetener. I hate to say artificial because it does come from a fruit. And anytime you can use fruit as an alternative for sweetening something, that would be a better way to go. If you do use, say, have a diet soda or something on occasion, I'm sure a very small amount amount wouldn't, be harmful, but I think it really is a personal choice.
Great. Another common question is around glycemic index. We had a question specific to carrots and how many small baby carrots can you eat without raising one's blood sugar level?
Well, carrots used to be on the list of starchy vegetables and they no longer are. However, I think we have to keep in mind portion control. So as we said, about a half a cup of a cooked vegetable or maybe a cup of a raw vegetable in the case of maybe the carrot. So it depends on how big they are, so we can't really determine an exact number. But I think if you keep in mind portion sizes and what things should look like on your plate, that would be a better measure of controlling your blood sugar level as opposed to just how many individual pieces of something you should have.
And then the final question that we have is regarding international diets. The question was specifically around Asian cuisine, but it would really apply to anything. And are there any resources for types of menus that are international?
I believe there are. I don't have those websites handy right off the tip of my tongue. But I believe if you go to the American Diabetes Association website, you can look those up. And I think it's very important for people to be able to include their ethnic foods in their holidays and in their regular eating habits. And so that's an important part of maintaining your culture. And so also you can do a search on the web, and if you look up ethnic diabetic menus or meals, you will get quite a bit of a variety of choices. I know I've utilized it before. So if you do a good search and just look at the resources and make sure that they seem to be, reliable and valid, and you can tell by the information that they're giving you. And some of them will even have recipes that will have that breakdown at the end of the recipe in terms of your calories and carbohydrates, etc. And another good place is to look on the eatingwell.com website. And there are a lot of good recipes for many different types of healthcare conditions and situations that have the nutrient information included.
Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate the information that you've shared with us today on this webinar. I'd like to thank all of the listeners for attending today, the presentation on diabetes and the importance of meal planning. We hope that you found the presentation useful, and we wish you a happy and healthy holiday season. If you have any questions, please reach out to the Good Health Gateway team, and you can use the email address listed on the page, scosta@abacushealth.com. Thank you.